So Jerusalem, a city synonymous with chaos. Chaos is the subject, yes? Just ask anyone who comes to Jerusalem without Waze, and I tell you, it's chaos. I don't want to come. But it's not that just the roads, which have no plans at all. It's in the air. Something in the air is chaos. So the subject is dissolving borders. The word on the left is in constant motion, always changing and very dynamic. The word on the right, that is made for the font Gotham, is stuck like a fossil. My name is Saar, and I was born in Jerusalem, as I said before, a dynamic city, always in motion, and always dealing with borders. Let's think together a second about borders. They're always around us. This room that we are now has borders, walls. They prevent the sounds of other talk, of other things that from outside, like coffee or something. By the way, it's really quiet here. They keep us together in a cozy way. And as designers, we also have borders. We have deadlines, budget, client wishes, and demands. And since we are kids, we definitely have borders. We learn what we are allowed and not allowed to do. Don't go there, don't do this. I have 4 kids at home, so I know this really good. So let's face it, borders are a part of our everyday life and can be a good thing. Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, El-Quds. What a word. What comes to your mind, when you hear this word? What comes? Home. What? Conflict. Mystery. History, mystery. History, Christians, politics, faith, Israel, Muslims, Jesus, conflict. Jerusalem is a mega brand. You can't compete with it. There is no city in the world with so much public attention. Millions of people in the world are praying to Jerusalem every day. You know there is more results in Google about Jerusalem than Coca-Cola. How do you deal with that as a designer? So I was born in Jerusalem. This is in Imka, before destroyed the soccer field. And my dream as a child was to be a professional football player. Soon enough, I realized I will not be a professional football player. So when a few friends from my school who had a nightclub in Jerusalem asked me if I wanted to organize a party, I said, why not? Now remember, we are talking about Jerusalem, the city of Jesus. A hectic nightclub is not the first image that comes in mind. The party was a big success, and soon I found myself managing the nightclub. These are actual pictures from the club. I didn't take them from a photo stock or something. DJs from all around the world played there, and the club was chosen in those days, 20 years ago, as one of the 5 best clubs in the world by those DJs in DJ Magazine. A big part of its success was because of Jerusalem. Why? Because the gap between the perception about Jerusalem and what really went inside was huge. This is, by the way, the first logo that I ever designed. After a couple of years of parties and a few more things, I asked myself, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? Now remember, a moment of history. The year is 1997. Some of you, not all, but some of you were just born. How do I invite people to a party with no Snapchat, no Instagram, no Facebook, no Twitter, no Google? That is a flyer, not a cell phone. We went on foot from coffee house to coffee house all around Jerusalem, from table to table, from person to person, handed out flyers. I didn't just hand out the flyers, I designed the flyers. So it was really great for me to see face to face people reacted to my designs. So while I was a student of graphic design, I was designing invitations with DJs from all around the world. Actually, I just learned did what I learned in typography lessons. But at the end of the 3rd year, I was tired of the parties. And I told one of the founders of the club, Eyal, I'm leaving. He said he also wants to quit. He was already 26 and suggested that we open a company together. I said, why not? Sounds good. You bring the clients, I'll do the design. So we opened the company and called it Open. Why open? Because to be open is a way of living. It's a choice. It's a staying open to opportunity, to community, to people. This is our office today in Tel Aviv. And this is how we started. The computer was like this. Today we are 50 people. We are having fun. We laugh. And we work with brands from all over the world. This is my story in a nutshell. Now, take a look at this sign. This is a regular street sign in Jerusalem. And I think it summarized the beauty and the complexity of the city. Every street sign in Jerusalem must be in 3 languages: Hebrew, Arabic, and English. This is an old map which describes Jerusalem as the middle of the world. Today, the 3 religions of the world, the Jews, the Christians, the Muslims, still come together at their ancient holy sites. אני אעבור שנייה לאנגלית, את זה אני לא הולך להסביר לכם, אבל הכותל, the holy sepulchre of the Christians, and the Temple Mount, but I don't know if everyone knows this fact. Do you know what is the distance between this iconic wall, temple, and church? Someone know? Not more than 700 meters. It's like from here to Jerusalem Theater. Think. So let's take a look from a wider perspective. The middle of the world. Look how this tiny pixel, which you can't even see on the screen, makes so much trouble in the world and conflict between 3 religions. we also have a complex, as you know, we also have a complex relationship between ultra-religious Jews and non-religious Jews, between Jews and Arabs. Jerusalem, one of the most amazing cities and ugliest. It's an historic city and modern. A city that proudly hosts gay parades, but at the same time we have this against. And I can continue with a lot of slides, but at the end of the day, when you come to Jerusalem, the question is, which glasses will you see it through? Wendy, you don't know her. Meet Lynn Schusterman. Lynn is a woman who lives in the States, and she has some resources. A little bit. She is one of the biggest donors to the city of Jerusalem, and she decided to give her money in a really interesting way. She asked herself the question, how can I help the city? The city has really big issues with negative migration of the non-religious Jews. Most of my secular friends, including me, even my parents, have left Jerusalem over the last 15 years. Lynn established an independent, non-profit organization to look at both the good and the bad of Jerusalem in an artistic expression that will invite people to see Jerusalem in a new light and change maybe change the perception of the city. Every year, in the summer, there are 3 weeks of festival around Jerusalem with loads of musical and artistic events. We, at Open, were chosen to create the brand identity for the festival from the day it started in 2011. We embraced then three principles that have led us all of these years. First, it will not be a corporate brand. It must communicate something fresh, urban, with the energy of Jerusalem. So let's take a look at our first identity from 2011. We took out to the street of Jerusalem with cameras and we captured photos from the daily life. We chose and isolated one aspect of the photo. Here, all of them together. This project was chosen by Paula Scher, the co-founder of Pentagram, and personally for me, one of the most inspiring designers in the world, as the project of the year of 2011 out of 800 projects at the famous brand new competition. Our second principle, the brand will be dynamic. It will change every year according to the character of the festival. And our third and driving principle is curiosity. We want to inspire people, all people, people from abroad, people from Jerusalem, people from Israel, all people, to ask questions and maybe change their perception about Jerusalem. The name of the festival is Mekudeshet, the Hebrew word for holy and sacred. In Israel, when you have wedding, most of you know it, you say to your future wife, a second before your ring, the ring is on a finger, Mekudeshet, 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 which means last chance, last chance, last chance. Seriously, it means you are holy for me. This is the moment exactly the moment which everyone takes responsibility of for holiness and transforms from a passive to an active participant. In Jerusalem, there is an historic problem of borders. There is no one who can say for sure what the real borders of the city and what belongs to whom. Here is a map of Jerusalem. The east side is filled by Muslims. The west side is filled by ultra-religious Jews. And the rest of the city by the rest, non-religious Jews. But in your daily life, you need to go to post office, banks, hospitals, and more. You don't have everything in your area, so you need to move your borders. Every person is sure that the whole city belongs to him and sees Jerusalem from his own perspective. Every day in Jerusalem, you must leave your borders. This is part of the daily life. The festival created a series of events through art, whose role was to awaken in every person an awareness of his own personal borders inside his own mind and to perhaps expand them. We looked for a way to express this, something with movement, something that would express the extreme complexity of the city. We started to think how to deal with this project. We thought a lot, and we tried and tried again. And after a lot of tries and a lot of disappointing moments and question to ourselves, we started to wonder, would anything work? I felt stuck. So this is me again. I put on my yellow shorts. I know the solution had to come from movement. So I thought, I have to move out from my own comfort zone, move my own borders. So get ready. Please feel free to laugh. I did this. I asked a friend of mine, also one of the Israel premier dancers, Renana Raz, to help me. As you can see, this is way, way, way out of my comfort zone. Way. But I thought after I did this, I thought to myself, how can we change our internal borders as designers? So the next day, back at the office, I knew that I must get my designers to leave their comfort zones. So the first thing I did is to leave the computers for a second and put some silly post-it notes on the top of our heads. And this is what we got. We understood immediately that we had something in our hands. It was surprise. We didn't have control of the path. It was exciting. So we started to do initial sketches with typography just to feel how they live together. It felt interesting and innovative. So we called to the client to show them the idea. They really liked it. So the journey just began. I believe that in design, and especially when using data, everything has to represent something. Every shape, color, and type. So we had 3 questions. 1, what does each path, as it moves from A to B, represent? 2, what does the color represent? And 3, what does the shape represent? The answer, as in most times, was right out under our noses. So here it is. In the festival, there is an event called Dissolving Boundaries. Here, people from opposite sides of the conflict were invited to walk in one another's path. They didn't just walk the walk, they talk the talk, they walk the walk together. So we thought if we mark the movement of one participant using GPS data to track his path in the city, we might find out something interesting. We did it for all the participants. Now we had the data for one whole day. So now the question was, as I said before, how to give it meaning, how to translate it into something inspiring, something personal. We started to find a direction. The first thing we did was personally sit with each of the participants to get to know them. So I'd like to introduce you a neighborhood. It's here, here, here. I'd like to introduce you to Nadim Shiban.
My name is Nadim Shiban, the director of the Islamic Art Museum in Jerusalem. I'm an Israeli Arab Christian. When I came to Jerusalem and I studied sociology at the university, I met my first wife. She was Jewish. Mixed couples by that time wasn't acceptable at all. Fortunately, we convinced others that we can create a normal life. Even you are Jewish and Arab and Palestinians and Christian, whatever, if you share certain values, that's me.
Now allow me to introduce Iska Smith.
Shalom, my name is Yiska Smith. I live in Jerusalem. I'm considered to be a teacher of spiritual text in the Jewish tradition. I help guide those people who are seeking direction in their spiritual journeys from as far back as 5 years old. I always felt like a girl, a female, a young woman, somehow, though, born into a male body. And that motivated me on my 50th birthday to start my gender transition. And that actually brought me back to Judaism and brought me back to Israel. I didn't give up believing in God, I just gave up believing there was a place for me. And what I believe my transition actually did, it dissolved the boundaries. It allowed me to see for the first time. And I saw the same world, but it was so vivid and so clear and so clean. It has made me a very compassionate person. I'm able to hear people and hear their struggles. And much of dissolving the boundaries for me was a commitment to being honest, to really being honest with God, honest with myself, honest with people around me, and at the same time being able to forgive myself for when I wasn't.
Ten people participated in dissolving boundaries, chosen because of the boundaries they dissolve in their own personal lives. Here is Asaf Granit, a chef, an autodidact, never studied to cook in his life, and was chosen last year as the #1 guest chef in Paris. He has some of the most successful restaurants in London, but everything started in Jerusalem. We took one person as an example and translated into an abstract graphic. Then we made from that a Photoshop brush. We did it with 4 participants. We started to design and fill it all together. We came up with this, but we felt it was too cute. So then we took a grid, it came up from the map, and we started to play with it. Melting borders. This is what we got. It looked good. It looked good with energy. But now it felt too complicated. To this and to that, we were starting to feel like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So back to the drawing board, until we understood how to build everything together. Each of the participants was translated into 10 abstract brushes. Here they are. Let's look at one day of data representing each of these dissolvers. Since Jerusalem is the city of differences, we thought that we must take the most contrasting colors, black and white, as the base of the identity. Now we have endless frames of graphic language to choose from to communicate our messages. The logo is built from 3 languages, Hebrew, Arabic, and English. We chose the modern typeface. Why? Because already the name Mekudeshet, as I explained before, and as you know, has a religious connotation. You are holy for me. So we wanted to lighten it up a little. All the typography information is on graphic strips to give a balance between the dynamic abstract brushes and the structural information and typeface. This is how we launched the festival around Jerusalem. We had different posters all around Jerusalem. This is the identity of the festival. But the festival was built from a lot of small events that created it. הפונט לא עובד, לא נורא, נסלח. We created for every event a unique visual that was taken from the festival identity, with colors to differentiate the events from the festival, and also one from another. This is an event which is called Basic Assumption, an artistic performance exploring a scientific experiment. We took our brushes and designed an abstract translation. Rituals of here and now, above and beyond what was spoken before. Here you see on rooftops art that looks at Jerusalem from above. Kulna, the word Kulna in Arabic means all of us. And it's the name of a musical event that brings Jewish and Arab people from both sides of Jerusalem together. This is what our dream Middle East look like. Echoes. Echoes is a nighttime sound experience in the heart of the most urban valley. שכחתי את השם של זה בעמק המצלבה. And this is the main and the last event of the festival, Mekudeshet Music, 48 hours of celebration of music, traversing languages, borders, and faith, located in the religious places, including the old city, with 200 musicians from all over the world. 5 o'clock in the morning. We used all of our brushes. We gave them colors. This is actually a party of colors. This is how all the events look together. Of course, we did a website, the main brochure of the festival, a few double spread, paper ads, backstage passes, entrance tickets, and merchandise that will enhance the experience. Bags, even beers, and reviews. Here's the New York Times. We received this award last month. The project was chosen by the famous magazine Communication Art as one of the top 20 most influential in identity design out of 3,894 works from all over the world. Very honored. This is the final result. As someone who was born in Jerusalem, this project is really important for me personally. So I hope that we have played here a significant role in the mission of changing the perception of Jerusalem. Only in Jerusalem can you walk in the streets alongside an Ethiopian nun, a diplomat from Finland, an ultra-religious Jew, a Muslim from the east side, and a few tourists. Jerusalem taught me, if you let your inside borders dissolve, you can talk with the other. In these days, especially in the echo chamber that Facebook is giving us, we must not close our heads within limitation that people or place decided for us. We must widen our perspective, get out of the comfort zone, challenge ourselves, open our hearts, open our minds. Jerusalem is built from many identities and conflicts. Unfortunately, a phenomenon that is common and relevant today in almost every city in the world. We, as designers, have a role not only to make it prettier, but to invite a deep and profound change to enable ourselves and others to step out of the comfort zone. Together, I think, we can make this world a better and more open environment. So dissolve your own borders, take it to your life. Thank you very much. תודה רבה. שוכרן.